get anyway. What we get anyway. Get ready. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not an attorney, but
It worked this morning, and there it goes.
there goes. No promises of today.
I'm gonna make it to work tomorrow.
Okay. Put yourself first and have.
I'm gonna have a 30th.
I know it's due.
Oh, they can reschedule.
So you guys can turn down.
Can we turn it on? Oh, I turned it down. Oh, hey, do you have our plaque, Paula?
To get off my desk.
Yeah. It's happening up there.
The other night I looked at it like it's all done. And like, I know. All right. 6 o'clock.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll.
Margot. Present. Councilwoman Merkela. Present. Councilman McCarthy.
Present.
Councilman Sanders.
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
President, let the record reflect we have a quorum for Monday, June 15th, special city council meeting. I'll let the golf board get your roll call and rock and roll. Their meeting to order too.
Present.
Present.
Okay. So, ladies and gents, welcome. We're going to run down to action item deliberation decision regarding golf course staffing structure and operational budget.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders?
the report, a contact. I received an email on this issue we'll be discussing tonight from Mark Grubb. It will not present a conflict of interest.
Okay. I got anybody else have that one? Mark, Councilman?
I also received. Same.
Okay. So I'm going to do something a little different, council. I'm going to suspend Robert's rules and let you guys have the let you guys talk to the body, and you guys could just banter back and forth and let's have a discussion. Councilman? Oh, Councilman.
Sorry, thank you.
So with that, I suspend Robert's Rules, Council. So we're here to discuss the golf course on the staffing model, operational budget, kind of whatnot, and then the golf fees, miscellaneous golf fees, potentially. So with that, who wants to start this out?
Well, I will, because I was put on this board. I've had a lot of people come up and ask me a lot of questions because clearly nobody really knows what's going on out there. So they kind of look to us. And the one question I keep getting from a lot of people is this: the golf course is an amenity. Would you all agree with that? Yes?
Yep.
Well, the biggest question that I get out there all the time is why, if the golf course is looked at as an amenity, why is it treated different than all the other amenities that we have? And that's a question I really can't answer them. I'm looking for a little explanation.
I think I'll jump in on that. It's definitely an amenity for the community. I mean, look at all the benefit that our local nonprofits get out of tournaments and so on. It's undeniably an amenity, but it's also uniquely run as a business model, similar in function to a private business. And I think that's where the perception both kind of gets blended on everybody's side of the fence, whether that's the council sitting up here, players, the advisory committee. I mean, it fits in this weird paradoxical space where where the city has to adhere to budgetary constraints. We have to be fiscally minded for the citizens who pay in the tax dollar, but also be reasonably priced so the golf community can access the thing and make it successful itself, because there's an ecosystem to be had there. It is its own unique animal in that sense, and it's unfortunate that it's gotten this air that it has, especially here over the past few years. But I think that's something we can solve tonight, frankly. Like, all the alternatives have been played out, discussed at length. The golf advisory committee was formed to provide feedback directly to the council and to the mayor and staff on what the desires from the largest cross-section of the golf community and all of the different representations of leagues and tournaments and so on. You guys are the consumers and the leaders of those consumer groups that are going to use this community amenity. And you've voiced as a committee, you've voiced your desires for a model. And I think that's probably the best place to start a conversation to get us to a decision.
I would agree.
So I'd love to hear any feedback on how you got to those decisions, any additional feedback beyond what was communicated to us officially already. I understand that those topics were tabled in the past, but understanding, I think, just if you can encapsulate what your thoughts are around those things and communicate those to us, I mean, I think that's a great place to start.
Focusing on one aspect of it, I assume you're referring to whether head pro, city employee, or
Mhm. Yeah.
anybody on the board have thoughts? Either.
Well, I mean, I can see the good and bad in both. If you've got pro that takes the whole thing on himself, then the city is basically off the hook, or as running thing, spending money on the golf course, etc. However, that's only going to be as good as the pro that decides to come in, if one even does at this point. The other thing that I kind of waffle about is if the city runs it, is the city prepared to run it? Or every time that a problem goes wrong, is it going to be a delayed thing? Because that's been happening, as we all know, for the last couple of months. So I'm a little on the fence now about direction where we should go, and that's why we look to council for something like that. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm new at this, so I'm sitting here listening and trying to learn while I'm doing this. But yeah, the last couple of years, it's been up in the air about every direction we go to. All things being tabled forever, and it's like, why are we here? So I want to learn what's going on. I want to see, are we going to go city owned and or the other way? The pro takes care of it, and we're here to help them, him or her, and back them. Because yeah, that golf course is a big amenity. All the tournaments, every single weekend, booked with tournaments, spending money. Oh yeah. I don't disagree either way. I'm just here to listen to you all, but then put my.
No, I think it's just kind of like Scott said, trying to. I see both lines of it as well with everyone. I lean more toward having the city get involved for the first year to get this thing up and going, but then again, it's once you guys see it coming, then but for with things coming and how they've been, it's like, oh, we can't wait that long. We're already almost through the season and running out of time, and it's so do we just look for a contract? Watch, I don't know. That's where I've had several thoughts in my head about it, and I don't know which way to go on anymore. But at first, when we first brought it up, I thought we had enough time that why not just get the pro as a city employee and let him take over everything, let him run with everything, and then the city has the backing, we can put some money toward it or what have you, and let him run the pro shop. He should be in there every day. But my personal experiences with pros is in conversations with some close friends of mine that are assistant pros and have been in that position. With the city owning carts and golf balls, the driving range balls, it's hard for them to make a living. That's a big chunk of their money, their personal income. So you take that away, and golf pro cannot survive on just lessons in pro shop.
And that dovetails on what I said. Do we have a pro that was going to come in and accept that? Runs the golf carts, etc. And they just, I would assume that you would pay them for the lessons they provide, etc., that kind of thing. I guess I don't know what's really out there. And the other area of concern for me is if the pro is in the direction that you guys want to go, you have to understand that Mountain Home Desert Canyon Golf Club does not have a great reputation out there at this point because of what has happened. So who are we able to actually get? That's a big concern for me, because if it's the wrong guy, then where are we really at? Have we really done anybody a service?
We have a opportunity here, and I'm going to take advantage of it. Mr. Eastman, if we went out for a contract, and as a potential bidder, you only saw revenue streams and merchandise, lessons, and personal golf services, and perhaps the use of a simulator, would you bid on it?
Yes and no. There's got to be incentive for any golf professional.
In what areas?
In all areas.
But when you say all areas, be specific, please. What incentives would you be looking for other than 100% of the merchandise, 100% of the lessons, all the personal golf services like club fitting, And if you supplied one, because we would require it under contract, the golf simulator and the services associated with that, other than 100% of those things, what other incentives would you be looking for to make you a viable bidder for a contract like that?
Both sides. Check, I guess.
That's what the folks are asking.
So, as a contractor, you gotta be financially stable and able and gonna have an investment. $50 down. It's for some.
When you say investment-
Your hybrid version, I guess, so that's how we call that. As a city employee, even city employee, you have a base salary, but you have incentive.
Right? Is that the only one that works, is Alex?
Everybody, I truly believe everybody that works there should have.
I mean, Scott,
Chris, when you say investment, are you saying, you mean, just for clarity, you're saying that investing in the golf equipment to fill the pro shop, in a fleet of carts maybe per se?
Well, carts are already owned by the city.
That's why I want clarity. So before, I want to know what the contract looks like, what the proposed contract is. I need to see that document before I can recommend any direction, to be honest. Because if we're going to go with a non-attractive contract, then that changes the equation.
Well,
On a
my understanding
recommendation.
is right now, the city is not in a position to break the contract for the lease on the current carts. We don't want to incur that cost of busting that lease. The amount of revenue coming from the driving range, I don't think the city's ready to release that as a fund of source. So the contract that was held by Mr. Gomez when he left, he got 100% of the merch. He got all of his lessons.
that's a negative.
He got all of his personal golf services, the club fittings that he did, and he ran the golf simulator, and then he paid the city by square foot for all that retail space and training space. So he paid the city rent to run merchandising, the lessons, the golf services, and the golf simulator. And that was his contract when he left.
Does council have an updated contract that they're agreed upon to offer in case that's the route that's decided? Sounds like it would be that, less range and carts because the investment made in that area.
What I gave you right now, that's what the city would be putting on the table. If you wanted to bring another contract pro in, I don't see the city backing off of the cart lease or letting go of the driving range. And that leaves you what I've mentioned.
If you have a base salary also.
Not
He
at
did.
the-
No,
Not at the,
Not in the
not
second
during his
contract.
last contract, no.
no. His last contract, he did not.
He was director of instruction and merchandise, which
That's
put
it.
him at exclusivity for all retail, all lessons, and the use of his simulator, and any action performed in that. And there was no sharing or splitting of any pool of funding otherwise.
Microphone, please, sir.
Come sit with this handsome man, Scott.
It's confusing because the structure with TJ was different 2 years prior, right? So, and then when, actually, you have to give you credit, you came up with the hybrid plan, and then the structure changed. So it depends what we're talking about. Are we talking the past 2 years, or are we talking about when TJ was the pro and ran the whole
That's the
thing?
information that I'd be looking for from you guys.
Right, and then, and I,
What is the
Restructure of
contract
his
gonna be?
Contract have something to do with him leaving? Obviously it did, right? He reached-
so if you're talking about are you talking about the past?
I'm talking about
2 years
the
or
last
before?
contract that he-
The most recent one was a gap bridging measure to keep TJ here for as long as we could, because the golf community had a pretty strong outcry to keep him here.
Yeah.
The city had limited funds and had already committed to carts and those kind of, and the driving range. So there was like this weird portion of time where the things that you would understand that a pro in previous years had a portion of the cart revenue, portion of the greens. It became a very divided structure where the city operations of greens fees, trails fees, cart fees, range ball, or like the range machine, were all 100% of the city, all of the merchandise, lessons, and simulator were 100% TJ. So, and that was the agreement to split that off. TJ's struggle at the time, not struggle, but like his concern at the time was the cost of his staffing structure to fulfill the needs of like the carts, for instance. He had a significant investment in the carts and a significant amount of operational expenditure in headcount to run both the pro shop, the carts, and do those things. So his desire at the time was, if the city can take the operational front, I'll take the retail and lessons front. That was kind of the sweet spot for the time being. Now that clearly was short-lived, and it was somewhat intentional in that sense. That's why that contract was only 2 years in duration and had a 30-day out, because it was very clear that TJ was also looking for employee elsewhere. So that doesn't necessarily have to be the structure to look at here, but I do believe Councilman Sanders is speaking something that I would also agree to. At this point, the city has the operational ownership of carts, greens fees, the trails fees, driving range, and would desire to keep those in the operation because those
Shed storage.
And with that desire,
Correct.
Chris, now we want to hear your opinion. As a pro, would you come in and take a deal like that knowing that you would not get any of that?
Well, I just wanted to, for context sake, and from just my personal conversations with TJ, he wasn't looking to leave until that contract was what was in place. He would have preferred to be here in Mount Holly. Just for context sake.
I've been fortunate to work in all these types of operations. I had situations where I owned it all in the Fremont County for 6 years back in the 90s. I had the pro shop, I had the restaurant, I had the bar, I had to pay for everything, and I still got a percentage, but it's unique for every situation. Okay, I've worked for corporations that manage and lease property. It's based on a profitable facility. Okay, that, for example, I worked for Troon for 10 years. They would not come in and manage this property because it's not a profit-based type situation. They're going to pay you to run the golf course, and they're going to take a percentage of your profit. Well, until this golf course runs a profit, you can't really think about going that route. Your hybrid version worked, but that's the old days. Times have changed. Almost all of city municipalities is owned by the city, and they have the profit centers are the green fees. The pros are to drive green fees, and he's got an incentive to do that. That's part of his contract and the base salary. Plus, you got to have operating capital to run the pro shop. Plus, you've got to have people, you know. For one guy like Jeff and I to go back and forth and get the carts and try to still be in the pro shop, it's very difficult. And there's a working plan that would work for this type of facility. You know, we're a weekend operation. We killed it this weekend. We had 140 at the Elks tournament, brought in over $7,000 in revenue. Plus we had open play after, but they only brought in 500. Sunday we did almost 6,000 in revenue, and that was just open play between 7:30 and 1:30. We were booked solid. I put on 9 miles going back and forth to the cart shed, and I couldn't get him out there fast enough. And Ryan did a great job, and we're getting people out there. And I was cruising the course, making sure our pace of play was under 4.5 hours. The way that pro shop, you know, we mark down what time people take off. I know what cart they take, and I expect them to be on hole number 6 in an hour. Key. Somebody stops after 9, that's a killer, because they stop and order burgers or whatever. You know, that whole part of it is separate. That's another unique situation that you have there, leasing out that restaurant and bar. There's working things that can work to make things work. And, you know, this weekend, we've only got 40 signed up for the chamber. So today I went to the chamber and found out how many players. So the golf, I talked to Jake, we're opening up a regular tee time 7:30. We're gonna do a forward gun. So I blocked the tee sheet, it's tee sheet management to run it properly so we get open play to make that $7,000, $6,000 day. We need to have $6,000, $7,000 weekends.
Mr. Eastman?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the tactics of getting it done. I want to talk about strategically how we move forward. So
Yeah.
would you bid on a contract based on the parameters that were here?
We need to do that to get through the year. Yes, I would bid on it, but I'm not financially in position to come up with $100,000 or $50,000. And I don't know any assistant pro, or golf pros aren't rich.
What, so when you say the 50 to 100,000, what would you say you would have to purchase for that
We
to
don't
get
need
it in operation?
to get through the end of the year. We only need 10,000.
No.
We need some rental clubs. We need some basic start, and that can be flipped, rotated over. We got to start somewhere.
So what Councilman Sanders is asking, which I want to,
5,000 would have been great. Like you said last week. Sorry, if I interrupted. That would be a great starting point, because we're not stocking golf clubs. Okay, we have demo days. I have them all. We can have a Titleist demo day. We can have a TaylorMade demo day. We can have a Ping demo day. They can all come here. You custom order. They pay up front, and we have their product for them in 10 to 14 days.
I think
That's the
really
way- that's the way we do it at Golf Galaxy.
I think really the big topic up front here is more centered around the model of, are we looking at a third party pro or we're looking at an in-house city employee pro? Is that
Let's get that far first.
that is the breakoff point of what model?
Yeah, because obviously one is different than the other. One is, obviously you're hustling, doing the pro shop. If you're I'm just saying, if it's you got to come with your own cap, you got to do all that. And the other one is, you got city benefits, paycheck, they're just too different.
Yeah, so my recommendation would be, if you go to the hybrid model in a pro, it's going to have to be an attractive contract, and that's going to probably get you a pro in their prime, because this position is going to have to overcome the reputation that's out there about the city golf course. The baby's ugly, it's ugly, and right now it's ugly. And so we can say it. So you can't fix a problem until you commit one, right? So it's going to have to be an attractive contract. And I'm not saying it has to be exactly set up like what TJ's was, because from my understanding in the golf industry, those are kind of rare nowadays. TJ was kind of the dying breed of that kind of contract. But it'll still have to be something that's going to incentivize a seasoned, experienced, quality head pro to come here. On the city employee side, in my opinion, I think that's attractive too. There's not a bad option here. It's just, what kind of candidate are you looking for? City position is probably going to attract a young assistant pro ready to jumpstart his career, and he's going to come in and he'll take that opportunity because it's security, it's stability, it's benefits, it's a salary, probably I would imagine some incentive base built on top of that already, and he doesn't have to have capital. Then he can start building up his capital to go and pursue a contract later on. Or you'll get somebody like the end of their career, like Chris, who's also looking for that same kind of security and stability, and then that's what you get. But it's probably a 3 to 5 year plan. On that model, I would guess that you're rotating pros every 3 to 5 years. Nothing wrong with that.
For city.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's probably the reality of the situation.
But you can look at it the same way as a contract. Contract, it might be only 3 to 5 years if the contract doesn't keep getting towards matches. What's going on, right?
But at least on a contract, that's we
yeah,
know
it's
that
control.
It's coming up, right?
He's controlling that, right? I mean, it's as hard as he wants to work, and he's not happy and whatever. But it could be 3 to 5 years because something else could be coming into play. So
That's a great point. So I guess my question then, wouldn't it be beneficial then for this body, this council, say we're going to open it up for an RFP for the third party to say what attracts you to take over this contract, instead of us saying here's the options, having a contractor come in and say this is what I'm proposing for business, I want this, this, and this, and this. That's part of a whole RFP process.
Yeah, I would say.
So basically you're putting the onus on the private industry, not, hey, we're Mountain Home, we're going to fly it this way and you're going to get only green fees, this, this, and this. RFP, they're coming out and going, this is our business plan, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, you just have to be realistic on our timeframes we're looking, right? So we're probably looking at, I mean, 2026 a shot, right? So we're probably looking at season in 27. I would maybe do inverse, decide if the hybrid is the decision, then yes, I would think that you would have to see what the market demands and then be willing to offer that. But
So there's a gentleman by the name of Lucas Brick. He works with people like you. He's a consultant through the PGA. He's a PGA career consultant that will help you decide what you want to do for what is recommended. They put together through Career Links. We have this job search that you can put together and say, here's what we're offering. It's gonna, it's a 6-week process. You open up for, you have 2 weeks to apply. You set the deadline,
Right.
but that can get started as soon as possible.
And you
That's
can
right.
set-
Yeah, but
and
that's
it doesn't have to be 6 months or anything like you've seen in RFP. RFPs
No.
can be short as you want to as long as you want.
put it out there for 2 weeks. See what it gets attracted.
With the right recruitment plan, right? With the
And that's
right
what
outreach.
and that's what the consultant will do for you. He meets with you and he's good.
No, I appreciate that, Chris. And that's, I guess my question is this the venture in the avenue? I 100% agree, Scott. It is an amenity. You do it, but as Councilman Harjo had said that it's in that kind of weird business model piece in that. And so where I'm questioning is, I hear we need $25,000 to throw up and running, pro shop and everything. I've seen an email now for $50,000 on a simulator. So I mean, like these things, just seems to keep kind of adding up and adding up. And so my question is, or what I'm questioning is, at this venture, would it be beneficial just to get those answers out there, to put it out there, see what the interest is before we start, yep, we're going to give you $25,000, we're going to do this and we're going to move forward? Because when I look at it, we're just adding more and more to basically to stay with the city operated piece.
Right now.
I agree, but I'm just saying that's been come up. I've been asked about that plenty of
And
times.
I've been
so.
asked to get bids and it's been XYZ, so.
Yep.
That's not a business. That's a separate, that could be a totally separate business.
But I'm also not sure a Contractor Pro is will take the job without that, because we're in a seasonal, it's a seasonal job, right? And so they need to have they need to have an income to supplement that in slow. So they're not gonna be out there on the driving range with 45 degrees getting lessons, but they will be in that simulator doing it. That's something that they can make money on, right?
Right.
You can run your winter leagues out there and make money on it.
Yeah.
So if you go out to market with a lot of ifs, there's not going to be a lot of positive feedback. I would say set the foundation,
Right.
decide the foundation, and then go. If you're not willing to say we're going to offer $25,000 just for some inventory, we're going to have a simulator in place this is the foundation we're giving you, pro, to be successful. Who's going to come and get it? If you're not going out with any of those assurances, it's not going to be a very good feedback, in my opinion.
And I appreciate that feedback. What I'm saying though is that the simulator before, who owned that? TJ owned it.
Yeah.
TJ owned the golf carts. So this is what I'm saying is there's that aspect of let the private sector come in and say, this is what I'm bringing, or this is where we're going.
Well,
because when I hear that, yep, we have the golf carts, we need to get a simulator, all these, just saying, if we go down that route, those are just adding up where it's kind of one of those of, well, then why are we even talking about a contractor piece when we've invested all this money? Because again, now it's, well, we've got to get our return of investment on this essentially, right?
yeah, so
How do you get that? You get that push up in
But,
all the leagues.
I'm going to push a little bit back because TJ wouldn't go to Scotch Pines unless they committed to establishing a simulator. So we're going to say, talk about the same professional who invested in a simulator coming from Shadow Valley here, willing to do that once, not willing to do it again when he left here. So Scotch Pines made that commitment that they would build a 2-bay simulator. And before his very first day on the job, they had a contractor with blueprints in front of him.
But to that point, that's what I'm saying. TJ came out and said, I won't do this. This is part of my business model. That's part of his proposal.
So I'm saying if you go and offer a hybrid contract with that up in the air, probably not coming back with a pro caliber TJ.
But again, TJ came back and said, this is what I'm proposing, this is what I want in my contract, and this is what I'm saying with an RFP. It's allowing the private to come out and say, yes, I'm interested in this. Here's what I'm proposing for a business model, and here's my conditions. And now it comes to the council and we go, oh, this doesn't sound good.
So
Or,
he's talking
yes.
about a third option. So so this all started off with two. The city employee pro or the hybrid option where the city still runs everything except for the lessons and the pro shop. Then that's someone's sole proprietor of that, right? But he's going to the third option, which is we own the land, right? They come in, they lease the land from the city, and then they run the entire operation.
Yeah, and I mean, you
Sorry,
can have
if I
that.
can interrupt. What I'm saying is with the RFP, it allows for the hybrid or the third party. It was part of that last meeting when I said and or allows for the proposal to be, this is my proposal as a hybrid, or this is my proposal as a third party. So no, it is not just something I'm saying, a third option, the fully contract. It is.
I'm trying to paint the picture though, because it's getting very muddied between, I'm trying to show that there's three different.
Right, and that's fine.
yeah,
I'm just saying, when
so.
you said, I said, I'm just saying third option. No, I'm saying the RFP can be proposed a plan for hybrid or it can propose a plan for a third party. That's on the onus of the private sector to come out and say, this is the business model. Not, this is what the city's offering. We're going to incentivize it this way. We're going to break down golf lessons, all these things. Here's the land. Here's the business opportunity. What do you think it's going to take to make this successful?
I just don't know what additional information you need. Like, I think we need to. I think we're in a time of decisiveness right now. Like we're a couple of years into this. Like we, with the shadow contract at TJ, like we got to RFP and bringing all these different elements in. I think that what's going to be beneficial, you decide on the contract and how that's structured. Hybrid contract, how's that beneficial for the city and for the pro? Or you go the city model. Like I would think we just decide on what you want to go. And I mean, you can send it out, but
I don't think it'd get too many candidates.
So
yeah,
council,
and I would say, but my recommendation, and I mean, like, you could have, I totally respect your perspective. Mine is, and my recommendation would be decide on what the structure is for either one, and if you decide that hybrid model, build a good foundation for it, and that would include pro shop funding, and that would include simulator funding. That will attract you a really good candidate, will help the golf course be profitable. If they're not comfortable doing that and offering and investing in a solid foundation, I'd recommend going the city model, where you control that. You can just invest in a skeleton pro shop and build it up gradually as funds come back, and same thing as a simulator business.
I think that's frankly one of the most fiscally responsible approaches at this juncture. I mean, understanding now that when we talked at the meeting the other day, that the leagues themselves also hold retail funding that should be reinvested in a retail space. Like that was, frankly, that was never discussed anywhere, right? Like we talked about like tournaments generating funding through the prize money routed back through the pro shop. But in all these conversations, nobody mentioned that the leagues that play regularly also have a significant amount of funding that is intended to be funneled back through a retail pro shop. So it is, as I mentioned the other day, captive retail revenue.
Yeah, I don't see the city putting money towards a pro shop as a taxpayer waste. I see it as a loan, really, because that money's coming back.
I mean, I think there's in the context of that conversation, there's a handful of considerations to make, right? We've had a couple talks throughout the previous months here about that retail portion, right? Like the city starting off with clubs and bags and shoes and specialty eyewear and that kind of thing, I think are outside of the scope of what a municipal operation should be looking at. However, there is certainly room for those things like golf balls, tees, gloves, grips, this regular kind of grab and go things that either yourselves, your golfing partners throughout the leagues and tournaments, and those traveling in from outside are going to be purchasing on the regular. And then those funds from the tournaments and the leagues being funneled back through the prize winnings of those events, coming back through the retail space in the way that it's designed in that sense. And that becomes the exclusive place that those funds can be can be expended, I think that creates a captive revenue stream that outweighs what the initial boot up cost would be.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the one thing that I would love to see if it goes this route is that the guys that win money in the men's league, and if they take first place, each member gets a good $400. Let's just call it $400, right? That they can spend at the pro shop. They're not gonna go buy $400 worth of golf balls, correct? Right.
Agreed.
So you got to let the pro, whoever is running the pro shop, be able to have the ability to go out and reach and go, okay, I want to spend $400
To those industry contacts
to
that have
tailor-made. Yes, exactly.
Yes, and so that
and
was
just you got to let him handle those, and that's an in and out deal. That's something that the city never has to see besides the money.
agreed.
And there's not a, I mean, there's clubs that are worth $700, and a guy wins $400. He's going, hell yeah! I'm
most of the way
covering
there.
half of this, and I got to pay $300 for a new club.
Right.
You're still gonna
Now,
make more money.
now that aspect of that is the next part of that conversation, right?
So
That those things do become available to the golfing community through that special order and the contact that a pro would make, right? But those are things that we would not, as the city, would not purchase in stock and have collecting dust in a retail pro shop, right? Those are individual transactions.
Nailed it on the head. Okay. We have a small sales space. We have capability of getting anything they want. If that guy wants that $1,500 set, I can get it for him. They're paying for it out of pocket. They can spend their winnings there for it. It's paid up front. Okay. There's typically, I'm just using 30%. There's that $1,000 set of clubs. We're paying $700. We're making $300, and that $300 put back in. We don't need a big inventory.
And I think that's
The small space.
if the city were to take on that retail space, that would be my personal desire, is that the limitation of the stock on hand to those grab and go common items, with the ability for people coming through that pro shop to special order that those items that are not in stock on the sales floor. Beyond that, the retail margin, right? Like it was discussed at one of the meetings that a course in the Treasure Valley, that their pro has the opportunity to discount down to 0%. 0% is a loss because the card processing fee alone is going to run you 5%. Then it costs money to keep the lights on. It costs money to keep the attendant behind the counter. So there's also the minimum threshold of how to run a retail business in the margin, right? And that should also be pretty defined up front, that we cannot accept a 0% margin at any point, because that is a loss. One person pays with a credit card that day, and we're
Council, really
behind.
quick, and body here. I'm just gonna let you guys know, however you guys decide, where I'm at right now. City Pro again. I'll do the 25,000 to stock the pro shop, and then if you're gonna do the simulator, we have quotes for that. Obviously we went out and put some money out in the driving range, and that got all its return on investment in 2 years. Usually you want a return on your investment in 5, but we did it in 2 with that funding. So if whatever you guys decide, you know where I'm at.
Where are you gonna get the 25,000?
Out of the donated Idaho Power money.
Can I bring up one other thing, just so you understand? All these companies are price fixed. Okay. It can't be sold, but you see these $699. That's price fixed for 3 years. It can't be sold. So we're priced the same as golf, exporting goods, any online store. It's price fixed. They're not going to get it any cheaper anywhere else. We are limited at the price we have to sell that for. Okay. We're going to maintain more than a 10% profit based on that. 10% profit is a benefit for city employees, that you can come out there and buy something at cost plus 10%, but I cannot sell that price fixed item at a cost plus 10%. Here's the cheapest price it is. It's already said by Ping, Titleist, TaylorMade.
And what I'll also do is to help this boat go is still go out for the RFP.
Say, what's the proposal? What does the city employee job description look like? What's that salary? What's that incentive? What includes that?
I would say that discussion is nailed down after we pick that direction. Once we've committed to that process and what that structure looks like, how many bodies we need, because once we decide what the global operation's going to be, then the focus comes back to, if, for example, the city were to be the total operator, what hours are we going to arrange to be open to the public? What hours do we need to have staff there before and after to ensure that it's properly and safely started up each day and properly and safely shut down each night? How many of that looks like seasonal employees? How many of that's pro? Does pro need an assistant? What kind of rates of salary are the market getting for that, and what are we going to be able to offer? We've put an initial version of that together, but that's not been set in stone. It was numbers, just like most other parts of the discussion. You start putting it on paper somewhere because you got to start looking at numbers eventually. But until we actually pick a direction, that conversation is best had once we've decided we're going to go forward. Because in true essence, the council needs to set the direction, but a lot of the nuts and bolts of it is only advice to the administration. It's going to be their job to make sure, because it becomes a day-to-day thing at that point. And our discussion needs to be around what the budget is for it, and that's how we help hold the city administration accountable. The spending is being done in accordance with the budget we gave them and in line with the policies around purchasing and manpower and personnel.
I think it's a good question. I think it's a really good question because that helps drives my decision on which way we're going to go and how much money, because when you put on another employee, then that goes, city's paying out for benefits and Percy and et cetera. So these are everything that we do have to actually think about because that's adding on to the budget.
Well, with that said, Jenny, think about this for a second as well. In the discussions we've just had, the commonalities were whether we go out for a hybrid model or not, we need to invest in. We need to invest in the incentives that are going to be going forward. We need to invest in our rental clubs and our basic necessities. Eventually, we have to invest in what we're going to invest in terms of, do we do simulator work or not? We're hearing the same type of investment being required regardless of which model is being proposed. Eventually, there's going to have to be an investment unless we completely divest ourselves and are willing to take whatever somebody else offers us.
Yeah, and I just add on to that, like, I know Chris said it's a simulator as a business, as just a simulator, nuts and bolts, brick and mortar, go in, hit balls in a simulator is not viable. But it's also a necessity in the golf industry because if you get to a point where you're selling golf clubs, you can't ask a golfer to spend $1,400 on a brand new set of irons without a fitting. You can't do a fitting without a simulator. So, I mean, it's part of the package. Warm Street. You should go see the Warm Springs facilities, which are vastly different, but every golf course is investing in an on-site simulator.
So, just where I'm, okay. I was trying to meet in the middle with a hybrid. I'm not going to support City Pro. We're not using that. I can't support the Idaho Power money. So, that should be going to infrastructure. So, it'd either be a hybrid, there'll be a hybrid option. And again, this is just me. I might get voted out, or the RFP. Is it right? RFQ. So RFP. Now listen, hang on. My concern on that though, I wanted the RFP, but I don't want 14 people, meaning 14 families, to potentially lose their job because if Troon comes in, they potentially can take over the entire operation, and then we just purged 14 jobs, 14 families, okay, out of our community. So. That's a big risk that we're putting onto our community. So I said, you know what? Because I love everything you propose. That's what's in my heart. But then I also was like, the other extreme was like, okay, well, let's do the city employee. And I'm like, if we could do hybrid, that's me meeting in the middle. So, Jake, there's two companies that would probably come in. That could come in, and but there's two big ones, right? That could potentially come in. Okay, I spoke with Jake earlier today. What was Troon's one of them, and what's the other one?
I would say probably Truman and Kemper, but they're all, those are like the bigger ones. There's some smaller ones that might be interested, like out of that area stuff, but.
There's Western Golf.
They're not gonna be interested because the golf course doesn't. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to speak for the entire board here, but I would never recommend to go third party pools. Because for one, the golf course purpose is to serve the community, and going all third party completely out of it, while that their bottom line interest is making money. And whether that comes to the detriment of the community or not, they don't care. And all it is make the bottom line. And that's not the purpose of our course.
And in the meantime, while you're deciding that, it's embarrassing to not have a thing in that pro shop. In your RFP, in your proposal, if the hybrid's gonna buy out your inventory that you have, if a corporation comes in, they're gonna buy out what little inventory you have. You just lay that law right now. Okay, we've only got 10,000, 20,000 at the end of the year. You know, we don't want 25,000 inventory. We want 10,000, and we want these people to spend their credit or be able to order something and can get it for them.
Yes.
That's what.
So let's not get sidetracked. So if we go back to, I'm sorry. So if we go back to the RFP option, which I respect your opinion saying that they're in it for themselves. However, if you look at it from a taxpayer perspective, right? We are 100% relieved of all the financial burdens that we have to come up. Last year, we had to come up with $311,000 pulled out of our general fund account, right? To pay admin account to pay towards the golf course. Every year we've had to do a transfer over. And so I think, again, I don't want to speak for you, but I think that's what you're implying is that our liability is 100% released if we can get someone in. And we only know if we can get someone in if we put out an offer.
Get the
And that's my point, is that, and I'm not gonna, sorry to interrupt, but the RFP coming back is that it puts it out there to see the interest. I understand your concern about employees, but as Councilman Sander pointed out with our last meeting, we don't know. They could pick up the same employees. We can have the employees go to a different department thing. There's all these different options, but unless we have something in front of us that says, here you go, this is what we're offering, we have no idea. And it really is just well, let's start investing money into the pro shop and do a simulator and all this. And that's where, again, my argument comes, if we're going down that road, then we're kind of committing ourselves to the city option, really. Because I know, Anthony, you brought up about what are we going to invest, you know, if we go hybrid, we're going to have to do the simulator, golf carts and all that. TJ did, he had all that. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he did, but now the city is running the golf carts and the driving range.
And I understand.
Changes the job
You've taken that from them, right?
And that's coming
So-
down the breakdown. And I would be curious to see, and my apologies for not asking about the contract. I really would want to look into the golf cart contract to see if there is no exit clause on that. I'm curious on that piece. So, but I understand what you're saying is that, yes, the golf cart piece, but quite frankly, there's things out there too where you're looking at revenue streams that third parties are doing for golf carts. They're doing marketing on their golf carts. They're making extra money, not just off of the green fees of the golf carts. There's all these different revenue streams that a third party could be potentially doing.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with the hybrid. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you just have to be realistic about what you're asking of that candidate.
I
right?
agree with the RFP. I don't really have a problem with you guys putting that out there. But what are you going to do if reality doesn't meet the expectations of what you think this is going to accomplish?
And that's a fair point. Yep. And that's a fair point. And that's
It's still a big question mark
right
that nobody can answer right now. Okay, great. We tried that. It didn't really pan out. What's our next one? What's our next objective? What's our next plan?
Go ahead, Jake.
Ready to back up.
I just want to, I've talked to all the council pretty much and told them how I feel about it. So, you look at the city golf course and look at the history of what city golf courses are. They're not going third party. Not. You got 2 in Idaho you found. They're doing it now, but what they're going to do soon, they're just going to go back to the city. The only way for municipalities to make money or break even, I talked to a turf consultant this morning from Minnesota. He said all of the city municipalities are owned by the city. They're going away from it because they can't make money. They have to use everything the city has, have to put that in to make
you're not gonna be able to make money, even if you have a hybrid pro or whatever. And I know some golfers don't agree with me because they like the hybrid pro. Some golfers might like this, right? Or they might like the third party. But if you think about it as in what's best for the city and the city owning the golf course, the best thing would be for the golf course to break even. The best thing would be the golf course. The best way to do that, as history shows, to go city. So I think what happens is when we have, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody on the council, I'm just keep in mind here a little bit. You guys, I respect you guys to do what you want to do and everything, but see what it does. Sure, lost my train of thought. So.
But if you give him about 1 minute, we'll come back to him, so pause.
So the city, like, it's the best thing for the city to make money, and that's what we're doing. I know people say taxpayers, we need to save the money, we need to save this. The city owns the golf course already. So why are we trying to lose money? And this is where I was gonna say, the reason it hasn't worked in past and why it doesn't work for other cities and they switch, because we got people on the council, no disrespect, that don't know anything about golf or how golf is ran, and you think, oh, let's do this, let's go out and do this, and then it just puts the city back even farther, and then they want a hybrid pro, because the city, their history is, the city can't run it. Because you're not listening to the people that are in the industry that have been doing it, right? Like, I wouldn't go to anybody else's job and say, hey, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it wrong, we gotta go this route. Like, it's just.
So,
I mean,
and borrowing the general fund is general concern. Like, it's a valid concern.
Right.
If you believe that the city or Hybrid Pro can't make that money, I don't believe that. Like that, this golf course is missing out on a ton of opportunity to cover that deficit. Right now in Boise, you don't book a tee time a week in advance, you don't get one. And if you do get one, you go and pay $100 to play it on the weekend. We are not doing anything to capture that market. They will drive 45 minutes for a reasonably priced greens fee and an open course, 100%.
Be unreasonably priced too, because with respect to what Anthony just said, I don't believe our competition is in Boise. Our competition is not in Twin Falls. You know where our competition is? The base. Do you know what you can go out and golf on the base for? $21. $21. You know what? I played out there last week. I will say this: those greens are beautiful.
The PGA greens.
No offense.
Those are
You
PGA
just-
greens, though.
It's very hard.
They got USGA spec greens.
Exactly. But
do.
what I'm saying is, if we keep trying to raise rates and raise prices because, well, they're doing it across the way, 40 miles that way, or they're doing it 80 miles that way, we're going to lose big. Our competition is right here, that Silver Sage, and we have to reflect that. I'm not saying we have to drop our rates.
We just need rounds.
Right.
Yes,
You,
yes.
you just got to capture the people that are willing to come down here. And I'm going to go back to kind of started off saying that the driving range, we've already recouped the money that we put into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 2 years.
2 years.
Okay. So your $25,000 loan, money coming out of the general fund or whatever, you'll recoup that in 1 year.
No, I
Guaranteed,
understand
right?
with your pro shop.
So it's not the investment you're going to recoup. The driving range, I thought was like, I'm like, this is kind of crazy in my mind, but at the same time, I'm like, this is awesome because now it is what it is. I don't have to wait. I can go out and do it. Go and if I wanted to come out at 7 o'clock at night, I don't have to look for a pro. I can go do it. So you've captured some of those time frames, right? You're just gonna recapture that money and regrow that. So.
And I'd like to come back on this. Jake, thank you for your thoughts. I understand the frustration. I appreciate you being here. You talked about the city making money. Well, I guess a lot of what we're talking about with this city, to be fair, is speculative, correct? We're assuming that we're going to have increase in rounds of golf. We're assuming that we're going to have everyone that's showing up to the golf course is going to be buying golf balls and tees and everything like that. So when I hear that we're going to make money, I'm kind of going, show me the business plan. how can you guarantee we're gonna make this money back and this is true? Is that not a fair thing to say
Hire a
this
pro.
is speculative?
Hire a pro.
Because I come
That's
back
how you
to,
get
when
good.
is the city made money? We had an email, as we all declared, from Mr. Grubb, sorry to point you out, where it brought up the history that the city.
Did you read that to the golf?
I'd love to. Oh,
And while he's looking that up,
We all
I've been
received
on
that
the
email.
council for,
We
this
did.
is my third budget season. So just from my perspective, when I look at numbers, so the transfer over from admin again, which is taxpayer funded, transfer over for 22-23 was 392,000. 23-24 was 353,000. 24-25 was 239,000, and then last year was 311,000. And so for me historically, it's just been a large transfer over.
That was in the changeover of a contract to now you've got to go invest in the clubs, or in the
This
carts.
goes back to 22 before that. So that was even before the time I sat on
Okay.
council.
So basically, you're losing $300,000.
So,
There's no Robert's rules.
so right,
sorry, Jake, just one.
Make money, it's the best way, best option.
right now,
But we
Take
saw,
away stuff that we can have revenue on, then we're not going to.
and I understand that, but we have the true golf report that shows the hybrid model with TJ and how we were closing that gap with all those things. And yes, I understand it was different with the golf carts and the split and everything, but I'm saying is we have history. Did you all get a copy of that true golf report?
Yes.
Where we saw that deficit between expenses and revenue coming in, including what the city has, was starting to shorten. And so I've heard from Mr. Grubb, I've heard from many people that, excuse me, please. I've heard from many, sorry, just 1 second. I've heard from many that was the most successful time that we had with the golf course. And I think we can all agree to that from what we've seen on the numbers. So the point being is that, again, it was a hybrid model where you had the private industry in there that was hustling and bustling and using many things. I had a conversation with TJ about how many tournaments have we lost this year that we did not have compared to last year. Well, there's revenue that's gone. So this is what I'm saying is that we keep talking about city, and I understand that, but there's so much in that true golf report that talks about hiring city employees. You're going to be paying more in benefits. You're going to be paying a salary. All these things add up. We're talking about investing in a simulator. We're investing in a shop. All of this is going to come on. And I have constituents out here that are going, why are we dumping this much money into the golf course? And it's no disrespect, but it's a true question. Because if we have $300,000 is okay this year for a pump and $300,000 from the drain, so where's the line? Because Lakeview, when I look at their finances, they just put $1 million in capital improvement projects for the golf course. That didn't even include their operating and everything, and what they put in the pro shop. And I've looked at Blackfoot with their expenses. They don't break even, not that I've seen. So again, I want to know what city is breaking even on a city-operated model.
Idaho Falls.
in all fairness to you, Councilman McCarthy, you have plenty of golf constituents out there asking why you're not doing those things.
For which part?
Investing in the golf course, getting a pro shop going, getting a city pro. And there's also a good chunk of the community asking why that's not happening. Right now, the golf industry is more popular than it's ever been in its history. Not capitalize and not jump on that opportunity, just to speak frankly, is malpractice. So you have 3 years worth of data. 2 of those years were under complete turmoil where we ran off half the membership and half the stuff out there on the golf course. So it's not applicable apples to apples comparison.
One was COVID and one was a rounds played of 20,000. Go ahead, sorry, Dick, or Councilman Sanders.
That's the fun of not having Robert's rules. Sometimes good ideas and guidance gets lost in the minutia of trying to get somewhere. Everybody here has agreed that the golf course is an amenity. Just like the library, just like the cemetery, just like the entire Parks and Rec department. Not everybody uses, as the mayor pointed out, he doesn't use cemetery, and hopefully for many years to come. I don't frequent the library. Don't get me near the water, so we're not going to talk about a swimming pool. But I am part of the community, and I pay my taxes to support all those things so my fellow community members get to enjoy what's important to them. Just like eventually, sometime this year, I might get a chance to go out and enjoy one of the things that's important to me, which is that golf course. Parks and Rec doesn't break even. They don't require their participants to break even. The library doesn't break even. It's supported by grants, and the funds they receive from their constituents comes nowhere close to meeting the cost that is going into it. Almost every amenity that I can think of in our community runs at a deficit. So to say that we're going to turn a profit is misleading in my mind. To say we're going to make money is misleading in my mind. To say we're going to close the deficit makes sense.
Yeah, I like that clarity. I think it's possible to really put a big dent in that gap for sure.
And we saw that deficit in terms of a smaller transfer of additional funds. I personally believe part of the reason we're seeing a deficit where transfer of general funds occurs every year is because we probably need to take a really close look at how we're forecasting the revenues for the budget each year. And we need to be realistic that the structure that's under is not going to be anything other than deficit spending from its outset. We have not budgeted correctly for that course.
And so,
And under a model that was not supportable, and we see that non-supportability every year.
great. No, I agree with you because I know there's no transfer for pool in here, but if you look in revenue, they're going to get for Parks and Rec.
$2.2 million plus.
Yeah, let's see, hang on. And then they get like that $450,000 split disbursement that's coming in from the state sharing revenue. When if you look up what state revenue should come in for, again, it should be for infrastructure. Okay, so when we have failing infrastructure, this is where it all goes back, right to the core of it. So one of our infrastructure is failing, and we need to actually get another well, and we need to get another lagoon, but yet we're taking Idaho Power money, 1.2 million that was donated to us, towards an amenity when it should probably be going towards our infrastructure. That's a whole, that's where I'm coming from.
But also, it's not an either or. Over $1 million. We're talking what's 25,000 on that percentage on $1 million?
What's to stop him at 25,000?
You guys.
Every piece. Well, that's the conversation right now.
Yeah.
And that's why I bring up is
Yeah.
it's $25,000 now and it's 50,000 this. I mean, where do you end the line?
We could play that game hypothetically all with everything.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, to not adequately run a golf course because of the endless hypotheticals is doing a disservice to the community. Not having a pro shop in there, and the golfers are constituents too. They're your taxpayers too. And so I know there's a certain segment of the city that says we shouldn't be spending this extra money. Well, there's a pretty good segment of it that says you should. I mean, so you can't use either one as an argument. If one's not valid, the other's not either.
And then until utility bills go up,
So the
and
point
people
that
are paying more.
point that I come back then, wouldn't it be better if the city was out of it?
Yeah, I'm 100% in support in either direction. Just the variables have to make sense. You know what I'm saying? So like, I would support a hybrid. I know that a really good, passionate, energetic golf pro that has the gumption to go and make a killing for himself is going to make that course successful. I just don't know if we're going to offer peanuts in the contract. I'm not going to recommend that contract. You know what I'm saying? And so I would rather recommend a city employee. It just depends on what it all looks like.
I guess what also concerns me too is that did we not have somebody come in and do like a study on?
That was the true golf, which is my kind of pushback on the RFP. Is like we have the data. You know that a hybrid can be successful based on the true golf study. So why do we need to prolong it with another RFP?
So
we know we have the data, right? We know.
believe-
We just got to decide.
I believe that data is 3 years old. What's the date on that data, that report? Wasn't it 23?
And I would say the opportunity. I would say the opportunity now
I
is
think
even
you've made
greater than it
progress in the
was at
last
that
2 years.
report.
What have you done in the last 2 years?
These last 2 years.
Well, I think you're still making progress. And I think he's on the right track, what Sanders said.
But you said last 2 years. You
Well,
realize
so-
this is a new.
Now, what is the date of that Troon report?
Right.
I saw 23.
August 23.
Okay, so that's 3 years old. What have you done in the last 3 years is what I'd like to know.
Maybe not you personally. But
No, I haven't been here personally, so I'm out of this conversation.
Acquired
Well,
the
I'm just trying to reframe
What
the
is-
question.
what has
The
the
city-
acquired the driving range, acquired the carts at 100%, acquired the greens fees at 100%, trail fees, cart storage.
What's
Missing something.
Change the contractor for the food and beverage.
what's your
Right,
increase in
revenue.
revenue?
to make up revenue in that
Yes,
sense.
sir.
Tiffany, Paula, I know you hate getting put on the spot. You're gonna hate me later. To the best of your recollection, how much of a deficit are we looking at right now? If we were to close the books today, what would the transfer be?
Just under 200,000.
33% less than average.
And we're halfway through the season.
And we don't have all the revenue streams coming in.
And we have a seasonal temp pro.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm not, correlation doesn't equal causation, but I think that's, you can point to some stuff.
However, I would like to point out that our seasonal golf pro has increased rounds played by proper team on tournament weekend. And I asked him to produce some of that, and I think that in last year's operation model is where we fell short. And the little bit of research I've done over the last week, golf pros are educated to grow the game of golf and manage the tee sheet and get people on the course to play. So our priority is to grow the game of golf, to bring rounds.
No. I think everybody's agreed we have an amenity we're dealing with. I think everybody in the room has agreed we want a PGA pro professional, no matter what operational model they're under, involved in the process on a day-to-day basis. We got that much in common so far. We've got a seasonal one in place. I have said multiple times, I started out down this road telling folks I wanted the city to have the opportunity to take it all and prove whether or not it could handle managing the course. Give it a time-limited time. Have an evaluation period. Start with the city getting all the revenues, and do we take care of that deficit? Do we change it at all? And if not, in 2 to 3 years' time, then we know we don't have the skill set, we don't have the people, we don't have the money, we don't have the playership, we don't have what we need to be successful, and we go out to a third party. And I will tell you, folks, my feeling right now is, based on the phone calls I've made across the state, if we could get a third party to come in, we would wind up paying them probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000 to $500,000 a year in a management fee.
Correct.
Now, you'd say on the plus side, you'd say, well, gee, at 1.2 million average a year, we're going to save the city $700,000. But no, you're not,
No.
because none of the revenues that were involved in that deal was before. It was offsetting your deficit. Is all gone. That's all going to that third-party contractor.
Yes.
I still think we're better off giving ourselves a shot. If I'm going to bet on something in Mountain Home, I'm going to bet on the people in Mountain Home.
Are you campaigning right now?
Oh, hell no.
No, that's good.
I like your thought process.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a pain in the tail when it comes down to how things get done.
Oh, I know.
I'm a stickler for things being done appropriately and done the right way at the right time by the right people.
That's
But I also have to ask the clarity question too, is like, and it doesn't have to be decided tonight, just something to think about throughout there. So if you decide to go the city route, what's that reporting structure look like? And what does that pro, who does he answer to? Is it, or is there, are they free to run the golf course as they best see fit and just, and accountable to metrics? How does that look?
Well, that's one of the questions I'd like to be past the point of whether we're debating whether or not we're doing it.
Right, like I said, not for debate
But-
now, just something to keep in
But to answer your
mind.
question, I'll tell you where the outlook I have on it. If it were my perfect world, and it gets crazy in there, golf course itself would be under Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec director would be the supervisor for the pro and the staff there. And then the Parks and Rec director reports to the mayor. That's organizational. That's in the mayor's world. I can't prescribe that. But I think there needs to be a degree of separation And there needs to be better networking that can be found by embedding a program that reaches out to so many different age groups across so many different avenues in an organization that does exactly the same thing. I think there's value added there myself. But that's not my call. My call will be voting on whether or not we go with the city having the opportunity to capitalize on those resources and to put ourselves to the test, or whether we say we don't want to take the test and tell us what the answers are to somebody else.
And I just like, just for clarity's sake, we agree that we need a pro, right? We just got to agree on the model. We agree that it's an amenity, that the goal is to break even, but we know we may not get there. And everybody's comfortable with that in the room. But just to make, especially Councilwoman Worklow, we've already seen the impact of an effective pro in a month's time, and that deficit's come down by $100,000. So imagine if we really and your investment, your reservations about investing further money. The money already eating into the deficit would more than cover $25,000 for a pro shop, $50,000 for a simulator, and it's a seasonal city fire. Experience pro. I understand there's reservations on deficit.
So I don't have a reservation on the deficit because it's an amenity. How many hours have we sat down with all the departments? I see the outgo, and I'm fine with it. Now, 427,000 is a little hard to pill to swallow, but you're down to 239 and 24-25. We took a little uptick in 25-26 at 311, but I think right now I think we've got it down to what, or a little less than 200,000.
Yeah.
So we're going, I think, in the right direction without the revenue that what I mean?
Yeah. It's one of the keys, and we go back to the data council thing back over a month ago. We took a look at the playership. We took a look at the numbers. As I recall that going back over my head, we needed to raise the number of rounds played on that course at the current rates by about 10 to 12%. And that was going to generate enough revenue to cover what we had for transfer last year. We all agreed playership needed to be moved up. The question was how we go about it. We may be seeing the start of that trend, but again, we're kind of stuck in we're in the twilight zone. I'll call it what it is. It's the twilight zone right now.
Baby's ugly nectar.
Yeah.
I have something to add.
So,
Is there any like question or clarity that the council seeks from any more of us? Anything from
I think it's great to bounce ideas off of other than just us up here, especially people who play in the community. So thank you for being here today.
I'm glad we're doing this. Maybe we should have done this right
Earlier.
at the start.
Yeah.
Probably.
One last thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna interrupt because Paula's been trying to.
I just wanted to continue with Councilman Sanders' comment. If you guys are going to increase your rates for next year, I don't have that projected. So if you're going to do a 10% increase, that's going to lower your transfer. If you're going to cap off your 75, like, hey, we're only going to do 75, that's going to increase your revenue.
So will the golf lessons, because if I looked at how much you charge or the list for the fees, that's a lot, right?
Right. So if those are things you're considering, then that's going to lessen your transfer because I don't have that calculated now.
We don't have any revenue currently from the pro shop or simulators. None of that projected into your.
shouldn't be because it's not there.
Correct.
Just you're making a point.
But we're gonna have to
You're increasing
project
your
it.
rounds. Are you increasing by percent?
I thought we were, and this is me, I thought we were just trying to get rounds of play up, not increase the fees.
That's what I'm talking about is the number of rounds played.
I don't. If it's a consideration, it's not projected.
Hopefully, it's not.
I don't know that you could increase fees again
Right now.
without more loss. And I also don't think that you should limit the passes when you're trying to grow.
Yeah.
We don't need that. Our passes have been cut in half right now, I think, from based on the numbers I saw, need to get that number up.
The problem with the passes, though, is that from the consumer side, it's a great benefit that you at some point will exceed the breakover point, and you'll find value in a reduced investment per round, right? From the city's side, when that breakover happens, we're actualizing that as loss.
Okay.
So
And now
there's
let
a
me throw
balance to
this
be
at
had
you,
there.
because we've had springs and summers that were less than favorable.
Sure.
Lots of rain, lots of just wind, and you look outside and you don't want to golf. So it's the pass holders that actually take that risk up front, and they give you that money. Now, how many pass holders completely use it all up? I don't know. I'd have to see the numbers on.
We don't gather metrics on that yet,
Okay.
but we should.
Yeah, I'd say
We
like,
definitely should.
But you again, you would be doing a disservice to the golf course if you limited passes. That absolutely would drive people back out to Silver Sage, where they would pay less for a pass right now.
yeah, I would, my personal recommendation or opinion on that would be, one, find the break even. Right. Two, I don't think it's up for discussion until you get there. And I would
Agreed.
mention
That's not a today discussion.
Yeah,
But
correct.
Yeah,
It's not a-
let's get back.
Councilman Sanders.
I just want to, everybody gets their 2 cents, so here's mine. I don't want, with the turmoil we're in right now, and with the change that's going to occur, no matter what we decide, it's change. It's a massive change. Let's have one piece of stability in this process and not screw with the prices, with the fees.
Correct.
Amen.
Not this
Raising
year.
it up.
And then let the matrix, let the data, let the golfing community that's going to be meeting on this and looking those over, come back to us and tell us. Let them do our homework. Not that we won't question it when we see it, but let them do the homework in their own backyard. We have paid professionals in this, and then we've got amateur professionals in this. And the wealth of knowledge that's out there, if it's honest with us, we can be honest with them. And we can figure out really fast, can we do this or not? Now, at the same time, do we need to go out and is it okay to go out? Do we want to go out and see if somebody'd like to offer us a better deal? Why not? And I'm worrying what's going to happen next weekend.
You're gonna get those metrics with Forum Golf. Open go live July 1st. We do Zoom calls twice a week. We're at the stage where we're gonna order the hardware, hopefully this week. We're gonna have it there so we can start playing with it and learn, teach the staff how to use it properly. And it's gonna make life so much easier as operation standpoints and increasing play too. So you're on the right track. It's coming.
All right, council, what do you guys want to do?
Is the intention to decide whether City Pro or just contract it tonight amongst the council?
It's an action item, so we need to make a decision.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'll kick this off. I make a motion that the council approve moving forward with a city-owned construct, and that the administration provide the plan for review by the council for its implementation.
second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Councilman Sanders, can you clarify, just so I understand correctly? Your motion is to move forward with the city model, having a golf pro as a city employee? And then the second piece, I didn't catch, sorry.
To give you your explanation, the city operated model includes Golf Pro, PGA as a city employee. It would include a model that shows all revenue streams being part of the city operation. I am proposing a 100% city-operated amenity.
And then you said the second part was have city council review.
And our guidance to the administration is that we want to proceed on that model, and they bring back to us information that shows how that can be done. In other words, we turn them loose to do their job, and they tell us what the operation would look like, just like we would be asking someone in an RFP to tell us what they would be willing to do for us were they were to come in. Let's just deal with this motion first. I have another.
Okay. The motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Can you come back to me, please?
Councilwoman Workla.
It's a principal thing, so nay.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
I have to go nay.
Mayor Sykes votes aye.
Mr. Mayor, for a motion.
Councilwoman Sanders.
I move the city go out for an RFP of operations and maintenance services. Operations and maintenance. Just pretty much what you had quoted before.
I'll second
That we build a proper request. Put that request out. I think that's going to take some time, but I do want to see the same thing you want to see. I just want to make sure we know what we're asking so we get a quality answer back.
So motion and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo.
Nay.
Councilwoman Workla.
Come back to me.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
I abstain.
Motion passes. Sorry. Okay. So, all right, we're gonna run down to, well, I think it was, I gotta come back, with a model. Can we do the, miscellaneous golf fee set a public hearing for that?
That's not on our agenda.
Is the operational structure. Because you have to have that if
If you're going to be, and you're doing new fees because you're adding lessons you didn't have before.
Correct.
So, if your structure shows the services and you come back with the fees, that work?
The item can be placed on the agenda with public hearing. So, Rob, as you could get would be the
Councilman Sanders is asking the fees in your proposal for.
We still have to go through the hearing, so we need,
yeah.
we need to, it would seem to me we would need to go ahead and approve moving forward public hearing, because simply having the hearing doesn't guarantee that they pass.
Correct.
But at least we get that clock running.
if you approve them tonight, which you bought July 14th, then I can get them in the paper next week. Don't put that public.
So for clarification, these are club rental fees for 18 hole and 9 hole. 1 hour golf lesson, 3 hour golf lesson pack, 5 hour golf lesson pack. Those are all for 18 years of age and older. 1, 3, and 5 junior golf lesson packs. Half hour golf simulator, 1 hour golf simulator, 4 people per tee time. 10 hours of golf simulator package, 4 people per tee time. And those are the fees that are on that sheet from a previous agenda.
Junior
Correct.
lessons. Junior lessons are cheaper. They should.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
That was one of those that I called out. Do you all have access to this currently? Yes, ma'am. So, for clarification, for the entire budget. Okay, one sec.
Yeah.
Tentative budget out there, setting your public hearing date.
Yeah.
So the treasurer needs time to get those numbers.
Let's see.
I don't know.
So
Uh,
the problem, Chris, right, or Chris, sorry, I just looked at you and I was, council, sorry, is those numbers, if we bring that back to the next meeting on Tuesday, 23rd, that's 2 more weeks out. We're gonna, I'm gonna have to say, Chris, give me best guesstimation, and we don't like best guess, right?
We prefer it not.
Right.
But then again, we have no other data to go off of. There's no historical data behind those services,
Okay.
except for maybe club rentals, maybe. But in a Zen system, good luck.
did you pull those dates from the AIC budgeting manual?
I'm gonna need it, because then
One
when I
sec,
bring the
sorry.
model
Thank
back,
you.
I'm gonna have to, gotta be dialed in.
Regardless of a public hearing date, we're gonna have
So do we need to go ahead and move and get a public hearing going?
I would prefer not because
Okay.
All right.
I have one more ask or just, so, logistically, we're probably, realistically, we're probably looking at next season for a City Pro. All of that, right? There's a lot of groundwork to be laid and foundation to be set, even if they voted on.
I hope to have
My
my
ask
modeling
would be,
done before then,
hopefully, hopefully.
in a week or so.
Let's get- yeah,
Less than a
get
week.
the pro
Some,
shop
but then
going,
somebody
so-
hired and stuff in the pro shop, what's that timeline look like?
Let's be pragmatic a little bit. There is a very viable scenario out there that says none of this becomes a reality until October 1st,
Yeah, that's okay.
the
So,
new fiscal year.
yeah, that's kind of.
There's a lot of discussion to be had about anything that happens before then.
I think it's
So
the
my
third
ask is that
Monday
we
in
explore
July.
interim solutions for basic golf equipment. And then that doesn't come out of city budget, that doesn't come out of anything, and then there is solutions out there. Just for instance, I had no golf club Friday night. I had nowhere to buy one. Like, so, on there, I had no golf balls, nowhere to buy one.
Maybe we should look at the model like they do for cars where you can rent somebody's car instead of going to Avis. Have our local folks just
And I-
put their clubs up.
And,
there.
I'm just suggesting there's already, I'm just
You're good.
suggesting out there, and I'm just suggesting out there, there's already a business operating on the property that has the capabilities to sell golf equipment in an interim basis.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about being able to ball golf balls and tees at the golf course.
Who's doing that?
Nobody's doing that. I said there is a solution out there for the interim
For till August or October 1st, someone
to where
can.
this becomes
Here
reality.
you go.
Hey, let me give you my 2 bits on that real fast, because once you start selling stuff by a private vendor on city property, if they're not under contract, I'm not gonna live with it.
Yeah,
It's gonna
I don't
be-
know what the contract looks like. All I'm saying is explore this, explore a solution. Because right now the golfing community is at a disservice out there.
So council, I had somebody want to purchase all the equipment that's currently there, and give it to the city. So that's your other option.
Which equipment is that? Sorry,
All
man.
that Wilson stuff, all
Oh.
the balls, the tees, the, whatever was all in there, everything.
The 4,906
Yep.
cents.
And I would say it's like I'm not proposing a solution to be happening tonight.
That was the fees and all that. That was the hustle, just in case we're going any direction. So
Can we take a donor's donation or no? Like if a person, if I, Tiffany Bell, and this is my scenario, I, Tiffany Bell, came in and said, I'm willing to pay for all that, here's my check,
Mhm.
Do you guys support that now we own the equipment and we wait for the resolution to pass by public hearing and we can now rent out clubs? Or are you guys still a no, return them and we're going that route? Like, that's kind of a direction we do really need. Because I've had several phone calls of people who want to donate $100 or $50 or just write the check for all of them come through to me. And I've also had exactly what Anthony said, a gentleman call really mad and will never come back to Mountain Idaho because we don't even offer clubs and balls. And he traveled it on a business trip.
And it's a discussion on men's league right now that we pull our men's league fund and buy merchandise to provide to the community. So
So right now, somebody bought all the stuff and it's just sitting there, waiting for a decision tonight, or waiting for a decision period.
On the city's invoices?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've offered up the money for it. The
Oh,
city
okay. I
still
was
is
gonna
the
say.
purchaser, which is what's Tiffany, goes back to Tiffany's point. Because ordinarily, the city may not sell the property without going through an auction, am I correct? So we own it, as long as it stays on the books.
Well, and you
No,
guys,
no. If we never purchased it.
Well, it's on your account. So according to Wilson, the city of Mountain Home has purchased it.
So that right there, council, is kind of the finagle is, I've had, like I said, you have 5 or 6 people who want to give you $100 and we do it for cemetery benches and trees for people when they pass away, right? Or parks donation. We take those in and we put them in a donation line. Can I take the funds in and say, hey, this donation money from these 70 people is to buy all this merch sitting in the pro shop? Can I do that or no? Because it is wrote to the city Mountain Home, or I have to tell Wilson, no, change it for 50 to Anthony and 50 to Alex and 50 to Chris and 50, like,
Mhm.
it gets,
well, is this a legal question to see,
I was
see if that's,
well, what do you mean by legal? Like the
Semantics
products
of
that.
yeah.
Yeah, what Tiffany's describing is actually the route. It's money that's being donated. We can allow that allocation to be used for that purpose to pay that bill. That is not uncommon.
I mean, it's happened at the dog
Procedure.
park and
Right.
that kind of stuff where
For all
people
those
have
things.
raised funds.
But then you brought up the,
It's one of these matters of, well, but then the city still owns it. Just because money was donated to pay for it, was bought on our account, the city will own the property. That belongs to the city then.
And the intention of the Wilson Golf stuff at the moment is rental clubs, kids clubs for the Parks and Rec, and what else?
gloves and
balls,
balls.
tees,
And gloves.
There's no teas in there.
Oh, no
Oh.
teas.
There's no teas in there. It's
Gloves
golf
and
balls,
balls.
gloves, and clubs.
And so,
Brand sets.
and the intent for those, for the balls and gloves is for retail
Mhm.
use or
Yes.
for use in conjunction with the programs of,
for the kids.
Oh, believe me,
kids.
juniors won't be hitting Wilson staff professional balls.
No.
Yeah.
We buy them with
understood.
that
I'm just trying to
Yeah, that,
paint the full picture of what the intent
and I
for
wasn't
the
even
equipment
thinking
is.
rental clubs. I just want the golfers, myself included, to be able to buy balls and tees and a
Mhm.
glove out at the golf course as soon as possible. I don't know what avenue that takes. Like I said, my suggestion was there's already a business that is at the golf course that has a POS system that has nothing to do with city funds that can do that. I'm not. You can do. I mean, you guys can deliberate that. It's an option. It's a solution.
Mayor and staff, how,
I mean, that would be.
if I were to ask you today what a potential timeline would look like to develop the plan as it's been requested, could we take a swag at duration of that?
I'll get it to you before the next council meeting.
Mayor and council, can I go over the budget?
Yes.
Hey, we're on golf here really quick, guys. Anything else about golf? I know you guys have been, you're here, like, we don't need to keep you. So we don't want you to have to like stay forever.
Yeah, no, that was the only thing was the last thing I had was just explore solution for equipment.
Appreciate your time tonight. You
Yeah,
did.
thank you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for your input.
Opinions a little
Okay,
closer.
so no resolution, so meeting adjourned.
We had golf budget stuff.
Resolution.
Oh, you didn't say
golf Yeah, she-
budget.
Yeah, I need to let you adjourn the meeting.
Go ahead, say what you need to say.
Unadjourned,
Back on the
reconsideration.
Just say what you need to say.
I didn't shut it off.
Yeah, keep going.
record. So, for the budget, for the budget itself, are we budgeting a person and the budget? We have budget hearings on the 24th, 25th, possibly. Okay, then the tentative budget all has to be put together and put into the stuff. All that has to balance.
Mhm.
Okay? Oh my.
We're tracking.
Okay, so then in July, you have another council meeting on the 14th. However, all the stuff that needs to be published is ready to go. Then you guys adopt your tentative budget on the 28th. But it's already gone to the paper for public. It has to go so that they publish it. Then they publish on the 5th and the 12th. That's done, it's gotta go over to the county by state statute. So, are you giving yourself enough time on that timeline to decide what you wanna do? Does that have to have those numbers in first week of July, what you're doing?
Y'all better get to work.
Yes.
Mayor, if you can get a plan, I think we can fit that schedule.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
You better adjourn again.
Well, I think some was counted.
The clock is ticking, as of now, we're keeping score.
Man.
I have 10 kids Thursday, we're doing cuttings, I don't need clubs yet.
Okay.
Do the frogs and rec.
Oh, you're not starting.
I've got 10 cutters in my
Uh-oh.
car.
Oh, boy.